Hi, everybody, and welcome to a gathering of eagles. We have four eagles here in the what is this? The pilot's lounge? I don't know. We have four eagles here to direct, monitor, play with. This today, we've got. Whoops. Okay, now they have 28 up in Pine Ridge now, and 7 of our youth council joining us, and 6 grandmothers from, I did it again, Green Bay area. Whew. So, welcome to everybody. We're going to, I think, kind of move around today, but we'll let everyone say hello and why they're here, and maybe whatever thoughts come, and then we'll open the circle and take it from there. Does that make sense, guys? One of my co-hosts, grab it.
All right, I'll jump in. I'm Valerie Cleveland. I'm also from in Wisconsin over here, not far from the grandmas. Um, there's a lot that I like about the gathering of eagles. Um, I find that all so enriching. What Melissa shares and Chris, and take a lot of those ideas and use them in my meditation and my daily life practice. Um, Good connections made there. And then for Jim, there's so much. There's also that spiritual aspect. But what I really enjoy is the activism point of view because I just don't get that. And I feel the camaraderie with Jim and that. So truly, it is a gathering of eagles. We all bring our little pieces and somehow we create a whole. I personally I'm a retired teacher after 38 years and this is great because it gives me a place to connect and I gain something from it and hopefully I get to share some things too. So thank you all for having me here. Talking stick in the middle.
Well, I will jump in. Hi, everybody. I'm Melissa. I'm so honored to be here among you all and the grandmothers and our youth council. Um, you all are what makes this circle everything that it needs to be, the balance, just the multi generations. And today I was thinking a lot, and I was thinking about integrity and discernment. And what I love about our group here is that things just come up. We talk about them, synchronicities occur, right action, right heart, right intention, right reflection, all seem to come together. And we hold space together like a true circle. So I hope this works. Last week I was listening to the podcast. I don't know if we have to set the audio settings, but I have my angel tuners. They kind of cut out a little bit last week. So I think if, as long as everybody stays muted, I think we should be able to hear them on the recording. So these are the angel tuners, and what they do is we are that bridge. So many of us, we're these holders of wisdom and bridge between the old and the new, the present, the past, the future, bridging to the future, bridging to the past, and trying to just be. So I'm Melissa, I'm the bee, and that's what I'm going to promote here tonight, that we can just be and allow ourselves to be the truest hollow bone, to be that bridge between heaven and earth, and allow anything that may have stuck to us during the week since we last met to be loosened. We can send it to the light for the highest value. We can send it to the earth to be composted. Either way. So thank you.
Thanks, Melissa. I'm glad you got the angel tuners there. I tried to tune my angels a little while ago, but they got really angry, so I stopped. And we've got our friend here from across the seas, Robbie. Welcome. It looks like you're a de facto host for tonight. You can join the rest of us. Get this. Anything you'd like to say before we open, Robbie? You're on mute.
So I'm from the UK, and I'm grateful to be here to connect with you all.
Thanks. And it's great having these connections from all over. These recordings have been shared quite a bit, and we thank you, folks. Glad they're doing some good. And anybody who finds any value out of them, please share them out there. That's what they're for. We're trying to hit the topics that many people want to talk about. And if you have topics or suggestions, feel free also to send them to us during the week, or you can post them up on a Gathering of Eagles group in Facebook. And if you're not a member, join up. We welcome everybody. Okay, so we'll open the circle. Okay, then I'll go into that. I think I'll just open it tonight unless somebody feels strongly they want to, then feel free. Okay. Wakataka Tecumseh, Great Spirit. Great Mystery. God, Universe, Buddha, Allah, whatever label we use. We thank you for this time together, for these programs, for the wonderful mix of people who've been showing up for these programs, so that these programs are real and have value. We thank you for the ability to come online and share around the globe this way. So like a friend like Robbie, who has to stay up a little bit late, but he can come on, or friends in south part of the world have to come on real early. But it's a great asset, and we thank you. Allows the tribe to grow. We will keep doing this as long as we are asked to do this, not for ourselves, nor our egos, nor anything we really need, but to help to build the new way forward, which we will talk about some tonight. Thank you, Creator. Ancestors, I welcome you all in at once. The East, springtime in the medicine wheel. The South, the summer, time of building and energy and strength. The West, the place of teachers. And the North, where the old ones sit. Thank you for being here with us and hearing our words. Please guide our thoughts, our words, our energies, our feelings as you see fit to provide the best we possibly can. And Father Sky and Mother Earth, my longtime family, thank you for being here. Thank you for taking anything we release tonight that we no longer need and putting it into Mother Earth where it can be made into useful energy. All these entities we thank, again, not just for ourselves, but so that we can continue to build a new Earth in a better, more peaceful way. Om Mitakuye, all my relations. Okay. So we were talking about, and I see our youth council is already starting to type things out. That's good. We were talking about Coldwater Spring a bit. Coldwater Spring is the camp up there in Minneapolis where the goons have been, the ice goons, the paramilitary phony police force up there causing trouble. The camp has been there, I would say, over a month now, I guess, something like that. It's right across from ICE headquarters in Minneapolis. It is sacred land of the tribes up there. And it's housing right now, as of today, I was told, about 100 people and 40 or 50 lodges, teepees, different structures, tents they're using. The big shift is they've been asked to leave by Wednesday, and it looks like the leaders have agreed to do so. And we can get into why that's happening and see what we think around that, too. Our youth council, who is with us, and a couple of the elders who helped that group, were up there. They came back, I guess, about a week ago now. They were up there a week. And so we're going to tag into them also to hear more about their experience when they were there, what came to them, and more about what they shared last week. And then I think, if it works for everybody, unless we go in a different direction, let's get into storytelling a little bit, because it's really, really key right now, I think. It seems like every discussion I've gotten into recently, storytelling comes up. It's like, how are we going to tell what we've been doing, and how will future generations document what we've done? So with that, I open it up around, I guess, Coldwater Spring or anything else we want to discuss. Okay, I'll open it then. In fact, it looks like they've been asked to leave on Wednesday. And it's very interesting because it looks like there's some tribal disagreements going on. Some tribal leaders up there, local tribal leaders, are saying that they are not treating a sacred place in a good way. That there's too many of them there, and that they are, quote unquote, making a mess. Others have been telling me on the other side that that's not accurate. They've been cleaning up carefully. There's about 100 people there, that is correct. More than usual. But how can we make a stand if we don't show up physically? So that's going on too, right now, literally. So what's today? Tuesday. Wow. So they're supposed to move out tomorrow. Will they all leave or some leave? We don't know. But what do we think about that? And guys up there, I'd love to hear what you think about that.
Well, if I can jump in, I've been toying with the term tomato, the archetype of the tomato today. And it led me into wisdom. So it's some of the stuff I was working on is, the wisdom that we need right now. Maybe isn't something new. It's something that has been growing quietly. So when we talk about, traditionally it's the grandmothers, right? Who passed on seeds to I know my grandmother passed on seeds to me. They knew which plants would survive, which ones were good for the family, which ones were passed down, and it's the wisdom that works like that. So here we have the wisdom from the grandmothers each week, and giving it to the youth, but the youth have to be there on the ground, elders and heirloom wisdom, camping out, protesting, speaking out for what they believe is right, and it's the same lineage. So the elders keep the seeds, and then the younger generation needs to plant them in the world. So what does that look like? If there's too much, what is the fear? I guess I feel, for me, intuitively it feels fearful. And is it because there's just, back in the day, there wasn't so much information spread about what was going on. And so now things are highlighted. And that's what I love about our podcast. We were talking about this last time and the time before, how we have, like Valerie, your daughter, connection to what really happened. We had firsthand knowledge on the ground. And so now here we have our youth, firsthand knowledge of on the ground. And I think, you've said this yourself, Jim, when you were younger and you were protesting. Elders are always going to be cautious about what's going on. They want to protect our youth, and we don't want anything harmful to occur. And then I think what happens as we get older, um, we begin to remember things that have gone on in the past, and I think that like the fear is contagious, and it evokes that rage and that passion. It's such a fine line with the youth, and that could grow. I remember one of the first protests that I was part of in high school. We all marched out, and it was like, but there was just that beautiful feeling of unity and community that I believe, just like youth need to jump on a trampoline. We need that in our soul to stretch, and rather than criticize, I believe, it's supporting. They need support and love and prayer, and and guidance. So if there is some guidance that they need, or if there's some things that we would like to bounce around here and reflect some energies, we can do that as well, and do some visualization of different things comes to mind. Just how I know we've prayed for hurricanes to move and tornadoes to pass, right? It's the
Uh-huh.
same type, like work with the elements. That's what comes to mind for me. Talking stick to the
You got it, sister.
I think about uh, Jim's APAC model, and it seems though if there's a lack of the common vision, a breakdown, and it seems inevitable whenever you expand as a group. This is a common occurrence. So I think not enough time of gathering and going in prayer is breaking this down. That they're lacking in common vision because they haven't sought the spiritual guidance. Um, and then people's own motives start steeping in and all that kind of stuff. It's a very difficult thing in terms of navigating groups of any kind, truly. Um, but I think essential is ceremony um, and prayer. So they need to gather around the drum seriously and feel each other's heartbeat. That's what they need to do in order to rejoin their hearts and vision, and take some time to do that. Oh, that's what's going on. Also, I think it serves a purpose. Um, there is something they're doing that's extremely important there. I am so proud in my heart. I prayed every day when the Pine Ridge Youth Council were there for protection. Just my heart was with you, although my body was not. My heart was definitely there. Um, I think your being there was really essential, uh, not only in the present but also in the future, because we're kind of there today. We have a foot halfway in the future and halfway in the present, and I think that's part of the storytelling as well. Um, it was very essential. In the camp, there is the ground has memory. The ground remembers. So there's a connection there of the past. There's a connection present, and there's also a connection of the future, because it's a very sacred ground. Um, the wellspring of water that is there, that's Mother Earth's veins giving her life, blood. She gave the water for the people in the past. They drank from that water. And possibly, you guys can tell me about that. That was one of my many questions. Was did you have a water source, and what did you drink while you were there? And all these little strange questions. So with all that said, I'm going to pass the talking stick. Thank you.
Yeah. They're responding to what some of each of you were saying, but there was some that on there before too. And to the general discussion, the general comments I made at the beginning, which is coming from both online sources and people who are up there. When they were up there, and yes, they left 9 days ago to come back to their homes. There was roughly 55 people there. Now there's 100, plus or minus. The water you asked about. Water is being brought into them from some springs that are nearby. They don't know the name or exactly where they are, but they're in that area. So that's what they've been doing for water. Because they also needed water for their ceremonies they were doing. So it's a sacred site. They said it was not, it wasn't perfect. I'll paraphrase them. When they were up there, of course, but part of their job was going around collecting trash. And if there was trash near any particular lodges or teepees, they were stopping and respectfully asking people to make sure they kept their area clean, and that they would come, and they were going once a day to haul out any trash that had collected. So of course they don't know. Tom's on here now, the head of that group. Said, of course we don't know exactly what's going on now, but we still are in, in connection. And they're saying yes, and it was much bigger, and still is, than Coldwater Springs Camp. And we could go there and, until people started talking about it, no one paid attention to it. That's an interesting comment. It's exactly what happened in Standing Rock. At first, the only coverage was mainstream media, and that was all lies and misinformation and pointing fingers and telling about how horrible the camps were, and they were hardly getting started. And then when I was invited up to help set up the virtual part, and we started doing it, suddenly they took notice and slowly began to shift things. They still didn't realize how big it would get. They still thought, what I heard my first time in heading to Standing Rock, sitting in a little restaurant in a town north of there, I forget, it's probably Rapid City, was people in there were talking, and they were not happy with what was going on, beginning with Standing Rock. And what I heard a lot was variations of, oh, don't worry about it, it's just a bunch of damn Indians, they don't know what the hell they're doing. And that mentality, of course, is something that's been promoted on us for generations. Not always the Indians. It can be the Reds or the Whites or the Italians or the Jews, or they've separated us. So, yeah, I think it's definitely much bigger than just this little camp, and it always is. Valerie talked about the activism part, and it's critical, and it has to be peaceful, and this has been very peaceful, and they're telling me, because they're still following and they're still communicating with people in there, that there has not been one non-peaceful event. There were some local police and Park Service people who came while they were there and asked them if they would shut down and leave. And they declined to do so, and they never pushed it beyond that. But now we actually have some of the tribal leaders asking them to leave. Also, mimics what happened at Standing Rock. Near the end, the tribal leaders, who, I'm not going to judge them, but suddenly there were new tribal leaders, and they decided they didn't want to make a big stink. They didn't want to be this visible. And they pushed to have Standing Rock dismantled too. The point many of them missed, and it'll be the same here if they have to leave tomorrow. It's already gone global. People are seeing it. The energy is out there. It's a huge success. A lot of the people who I was with at Standing Rock were really sad and depressed and saying we totally failed. And a bunch of us were saying that's not true. It's global. They're setting up camps similar to this around the world now. That's a complete success. Were we completely successful with the lines going through there? No, but it's still not delivering the oil they want. But it's the whole global exposure. And I don't know how extended the coverage of Cold Water Spring is, but it's spreading because a lot of us are putting it up in our groups too. Okay, that's where they're at the moment. Any thoughts, comments, or questions are welcome from them, they're saying. Oh, here's the grandmother's group too. I'll jump back in. Sorry. They've been sending prayers every day. Yep. Because, got to remember, and I think it was whoever was talking about, the elders and what they do. Not all elders can go and be out there in the trenches anymore. I can, but I do it in a much shorter period of time than I used to. If I go out there for an hour and a half now, it's a lot where I used to go, stand the ramparts with everybody for 8 to 10 hours. Can't do that now. So it's important to do what we can. Oh, it looks like some of the grandmothers are going to be coming here for the 13 grandmothers. So we might get to meet some of them, Melissa. That'd be cool. And they're asking if I have a place for them to stay, so they may stay with me even. Okay, that's interesting. Circles and circles. So now I'll open it. Thank you all for your grandmothers and youth council and the rest of that group. Thank you.
If I may make one statement, this was a message that popped up on one of my astrology apps today, and it is both too early and too late, which is why you have time.
Okay, going to do some interpretation or no?
I was just letting it land for a
good.
minute.
Okay.
Because it really just felt that this was really just being, really just being, and being in this place, this journey to the authenticity and to coming together to understand, really understanding what we're doing here and how everything is kind of just blown out of like what we know our reality, and the wisdom. And the wisdom is, we're talking about earlier before we started recording about publishing, writing things down versus, oral tradition and storytelling. But wisdom is not what goes viral. It is what survives generations. And we are in this generation of everything going viral and everybody's a one-hit wonder and how many likes on social media and how many friends or followers and all that. But when it comes down to it, look at what's going on. All these big gurus, everything is crashing. And where are we going? We're going to the wisdom of the earth and our grandmothers and our grandfathers and the teachings and the prayer and just the connection. Like Valerie, you explained it so majestic and so beautifully. I felt that. And one experience that I love and really when things start to get so hectic is remember your favorite experience, your nature place, your favorite, most relaxing place. And if you could just do that and close your eyes and think of that for a second and just go there. And I think that that is what brings us together. And that is what our common youth that are living in this digitized world and these educational systems on the screens and not being connected to the earth is what is missing. Is that beautiful memory of being connected to the earth, and that is why we will continue to do what we do, and that's why this youth feels so energized and so pulled to stand for something that they believe in, and that's what we need to continue to support and to care and to love. Fucking stick in the middle.
Looks like you on, Valerie.
Okay, thank you. I'll jump in there. I wanted to respond to the comment made earlier about feeling some discouragement. It sounds like of what about Standing Rock and the water protectors. And one of the main organizers, I suppose, is what we would call them. That's behind Minneapolis, keeping the communication lines going, and he's been literally on every day, putting out the news of what's happening, organizing, and he actually credits his experiences of knowing what to do was based on what he was a young guy, college kid, like freshman, um, and jumped into the whole Standing Rock experience. Cut his teeth, so to speak. Sounds familiar, doesn't it, Jim? On learning right there on the ground. And he attributes his experience there as helping with what's happening in Minnesota right now. So you see, nothing is really, it's not a failure. What it did is it actually unified the world, because we all understand the need to drink water. We have to have water. We all get it. And to this day, I think it's a factor that's helping with the cold water spring prayer camp, because we immediately get it. We know what the prayer camp is about. And I did have some other questions. One of them was, what were some of the ceremonies the youth did? And I was wondering about prayer. Sarah, in what kind of prayers did they do? And water ceremony. You'll have to explain maybe a little bit more about that too. So those were some of my other questions.
Sounds good. Work on Jerry. Yeah, this is interesting because there was a call earlier today, and I'm just, hey Jerry, if you have anything to say, that Standing Rock helped unify a lot of peoples, and it did. And there was a lot of young people. Those my age were in the small minority, absolutely. We were maybe 20% of it. All the physical stuff, luckily we had a lot of young people to do. But was it unifying or was it reunifying? That's what I'm remembering. I think you said that today, Jerry, and it hit a chord with me.
Yeah, and Chris was talking about consciousness, and instead of writing consciousness, what things like that did is reawakened it. The Standing Rock reawakened that feeling within everyone of banding together, that what people can do together, not involving a government. In this case, it was against the government, against big corporations, but what people can do of like mind and like heart when they come together. And that was Standing Rock was a great example of that. It was, as Valerie said, it was a great birth because what came from that, and that sense of purpose, the sense of coming together and accomplishing something, the sense of working for something together, crossing all cultural lines, was a good reminder for so many people that this not only can it be done, it is being done. and it's being done again right now.
Yeah, and that's been a repeated thing as well. Melissa, you were talking about having the message of it's too soon and too late. That's really interesting because way back um, in the 60s, and certainly at Woodstock, um, we started to realize it was too soon. And when the Kent State students were killed, obviously we didn't have any internet or anything. We all came together and we'd talk. But it came up a lot. Is it too soon for this? There's not many of us. There were a lot of us, but not many of us. And I think without any conscious decision made, it was determined maybe in our spirits that, yeah, it was too soon. So when Standing Rock came again, that's part of what convinced me I did not want to handle the virtual part of that. I admit it. I didn't want to at all. I had a lot of things going on with my own efforts, but the elders convinced me that I needed to help. And part of what helped me get there was thinking way back to the 60s. Oh, maybe this is the time now to stand and do it. Maybe there'll be more of us. And there is. But it's definitely, calling it up again. None of this is new. Except the numbers are getting bigger and bigger, and that's a positive thing. But yeah, there's nothing. What's the line? There's nothing new under the sun. There's a lot of truth in that. Might be new ways we handle things, but Jerry.
And that's another thing that your words sparked in memory, is that all of this, fighting against these things, fighting for water, fighting for basic rights to live, is not new. Native people we've had to do this since contact. It's had to be done continuously. Why it seems so overwhelming now to everybody else is because to them it is new. To them, they never thought that they would have to worry. They trusted in the government. They trusted in what they had, and their little lives weren't affected by anything that was being done to other groups. But now they are the ones. John Trudell said it before he passed. He said, "Beware, you're the next Indians." And this is what we're seeing. He said they're going to come for you. He said the corporations are going to look at all ordinary people, everyone, and they're going to come down on everyone that way. And this is what they're doing. And there's only one way to stop it: together. Remembering who we are, what we can do, and what can be done, and what has been done together. And not fighting fire with fire. Fighting with love, fighting with peace, fighting it with determination and morals and values that we won't compromise just to have our goal reached. If we do, then we've lost everything anyways.
Yeah, I've always said if we allow ourselves to become them in order to beat them, then we haven't won anything. Then we just change chairs, and that does us no good whatsoever. We're getting from Tom. It is good to remember, especially now with Coldwater Spring issues popping up, that no one group, no one culture owns owns the moral high ground. So yeah, like we were saying, where there was issues at Standing Rock, some of the tribal council, including the new president, didn't want us there anymore. And it's happening now in Coldwater Spring. It's remembering, as Jerry says, everybody has part of this answer. There's nothing, Black Elk's another one. In his visions and his prophecies, he saw that the white people had to set up too. The white color, the medicine wheel, had to take its turn again, because it basically walked away and turned totally westernized. Not totally, but too close to be comfortable. So yeah, that's really important. Thanks, Tom. That's an excellent point. There's no, if you're red, you know it all. If you're white, you know it all. If you're black, you know it. No, that's not what it's about. Would make things easier, maybe, but it doesn't work. Somebody had a hand up. Was it you, Melissa, or was it Jerry? Somebody.
I did.
Oh, okay.
I was thinking about this a lot today with my tomato concept. And, we're growing things that don't grow in our garden. You know, um, that's like the GMO seed versus the authentic seed. Here we go again with the heirloom concept. That was coming to me. You know, um, Being here on Earth, this human experience. And I think that if we understand that at the end of the day, it's only the humans that are part of the future. And all this other false light and this false matrix and this competitive nature, stepping on somebody else's back to get ahead, that's that's not what we're here for. And so if people continue to act that way, those are the ones that are not going to continue, because it's only the truth and the integrity that's going to survive, that basic human expression. Anything not human cannot go through. And when people start to realize that, hopefully then that'll activate that divine nature that they have, that we are here to carry as this human, the reality, the original seeds versus the fake seeds. And then when we start playing with the seeds is when everything goes awry. And I'm not going to go into it so much, but I could go into, a lot more. But we need to be human. That's why we have these bodies. We're here to work. We're here to procreate. I've been saying this for years. I'd stand up in front of my biology students and like, look at this body. What do you think it's for? We're not supposed to be sedentary. We're not supposed to be sitting in front of a screen all the time. We're supposed to be laughing and dancing and telling stories around a fire. That's why we have the elements. That's what we're here to do. And it's that simple, just America's a playground, and it's really America's been the experiment. It really has, whew. Again, wisdom is not what goes viral. It's what survives generations, and that's why we need story, because it's living. And again, from the very first time I popped on here, Maya Angelou, people forget what you did, people forget what you said, people never forget how you made them feel. It's all about that feeling. That's why we have the body. That's what being human is. Tony's stick in the middle.
Yeah, absolutely. Jerry, did you have your hand up, or are you just loving yourself?
No.
Oh, okay.
So it became apparent really quickly once the migration began, and not just the migration on these continents in North and South Central America. When the Hopi began their migration here, it became apparent that the migration of all the races too, to where they were told when they went out, what it was about. It was about, for the Hopis, they realized it was about the journey. It was about knowing more and understanding more about themselves in relation to this world, to this fourth world that they just emerged into. It was the same thing about the other cultures. It was about their understanding who they were in relation to this world, and who we all were in relation to each other on this world. They it, Part of the prophecies were, if everything would have went right, all the races were to come back here to the place where they emerged from, and we were to share story. We were to share our experiences and what we learned, And we were to take those things that we learned and use that knowledge base together to go forward together. That's what was supposed to happen. When the other cultures came back to this place, this is what was supposed to happen. It was supposed to be an exchange of ideas, an exchange of experiences, so that we could take those experiences and the wisdom gained from those experiences to grow together in harmony together, and to live in this world in a good way together. So it took thousands of years later because of the detour that everything took. But now we're at it again. It's at the same place. We're to come together, to take what we've learned together from all this human experience and go forward in a good way together, because we've learned all the things that don't work by experience. Now it's time to take what we learned, the good things that we've learned, the things that do work for humanity and for all life, and to take that and go forward together. Jim and I were on a call. We talked about it earlier today. Talked about we're creating the stories now for that next world. This transition time. This transition time is the stories that will be told from the end of this world to the beginning of this, what's coming next, and how we came together to start this next world in a good way together, and not just humanity together, all life together. Stick in the middle.
Yeah, it's interesting because when we started, I mentioned that we had talked today and about storytelling. So we're going to have part of this show in that anyway, I think. Because, yeah, that resonated with me today. And that fact, I'm old enough, I'm just sitting here realizing that I look back and you know, I mentioned the things I was at when I was younger, especially Woodstock. Well, hell, I'm part of that story. I'm getting too old. But we're doing that again because now we can talk back to what happened back then because no one had ever done it before. One of you brought it up, maybe Melissa, or I don't know if it was Melissa or Valerie. But yeah, we believed everything. We believed what our politicians said, our teachers, our religious leaders, our parents, our elders, because everyone was buying into the lie. Now we're not. And one of the things from the grandmothers, this is Grandmother Val, and she says hello, Jerry. Okay, the horror of a new war. Okay, so they're talking about the new war we're in for no reason. And in the grandmother's opinion and many people's, we've got one or two people willing to kill all these people and start a war just so embarrassing points don't come up about them. And what has set back the grandmothers the most was the bombing of the school. So I guess it was like 160 some young people were killed. Not even no apology, but no acceptance. Trying to point, again, to deflect. Somebody else did it. Today they're trying to say someone stole one of their missiles and did it. I mean, it's insane. But yeah, all these things they're horrible. They're sad. And yes, I'm with you, grandmothers. I've been sending prayers since I heard that story too. It's just, but it's hitting a lot of people so deep in their heart that it's starting to change minds. And so we have to go through these things to get to where we want to be. It is happening. I have no question. I'm watching so many things happen. Not easy. You know, it's kind of like, I think, 2 steps forward, 1 step back type scenario. But the forward steps are winning. So thank you, grandmother. I agree. And yes, we will, I certainly will continue to send prayers with you. I'm sure others are as well for those young people. Yeah, go ahead, Jared.
There came a day when Creator decided to look down on the world to see how his children, the human beings, were doing. As he stood and looked down at the earth and watched, Creator's heart grew heavy. The human beings had lost their way. They were no longer living according to the ways of beauty and harmony with all life. In fact, what they were doing was spreading across the earth. With a heavy heart, Creator went to the guardian spirits of the directions, the ancestor spirits, and told them that he saw no choice. This destruction, this way, this new way of being and thinking that seemed to be covering the earth could not continue. He had no choice but to cleanse the earth and begin again. Eagle came forward and spoke, said that you've made me your sacred messenger and the guardian of this world. Give me a chance to find some still living according to your way. And if I can find some, even just one person, spare them, give them time to return to the ways of balance and harmony. Creator loved his children, the human beings, and all life. He didn't wish to destroy anything. So he told Eagle that he would give the Eagle 4 days. But if at the end of those 4 days he could find no one still living according to Creator's ways, he would have no choice but to cleanse the earth and begin again. So on that first day, Eagle appeared with the sunrise, bringing in the day, as always. And that day, Eagle decided to fly in the direction of the east. As Eagle flew with his mighty wings and looking down with his far-seeing eyes, he heard no songs being sung, giving thanks for this new day. There was no prayer smoke being lifted up from the pipes or from the fires of sacred fires. No songs being sung. No prayers being sent up for Eagle to gather, return to the spirit with. In fact, he saw ceremony sites sitting unused, falling apart due to neglect and lack of use. No one praying, no one singing, no songs being sung, no prayer smoke being sent up, no ceremonies at all. And as what still happens to this day, time had passed. The sun reached its nightly home in the west and was beginning to set. As it set, Eagle returned to the spirit world. 3 days left. The next day, Eagle appeared once again with the sunrise. This day, he flew in the direction of the south. And as he looked down with his sharp eyes, he saw people below him in villages and roaming about. With his eyes, Eagle could see within the hearts of humankind. He saw greed. He saw envy. He saw hatred, selfishness, pain. He saw people filled with themselves. He could hear some speaking, "Come, I know everything. Come, follow me. My way is the only way. Follow me, for I know all." People filled only with themselves, filled only with ego. And once again, the day began to set. Be right back. And as the sun set, Eagle returned to the spirit world with only 2 days left. That third day, as Eagle appeared once again with the sunrise. Off in the west, there were thick lines of black smoke coming up, flying in that direction. Eagle flew and looked down. This was not the smoke of ceremony fires or prayer smoke being sent up. This was the smoke of war. Eagle saw brother fighting brother, father fighting son, people being killed, innocents being slaughtered. So much death, so much destruction, so much pain and hurt. This is all he saw. Eagle began to despair. For once again he'd noticed that the day had passed. The sun was beginning to set. As it set, Eagle returned to the spirit world with only one day left. On that fourth day, Eagle appeared once again with the sunrise. Flew this time in the direction of the north. As he flew, he looked down and he saw the refugees from the wars, those that survived. All that seemed to be left were the children. No one left to guide them. Wandering around, hurt, cold, hungry. Lost. As Eagle looked down, continued to travel, this is all he saw. These poor children, alone. Feel the pain and the confusion, the sadness in their hearts. And once again the day was passing. As the sun started making its descent towards the west, daring to hope, Eagle decided to fly one more circle about the earth. Continued to look, search. As that sun touched that horizon, that western horizon, and began to set, off in the distance, Eagle saw this thin little line of smoke drifting up. Daring against all odds to hope and believe, Eagle flew in that direction. With his far-seeing eyes, he saw, in that distance, he saw a young boy, much too young for the responsibilities he'd taken upon himself. This young boy held up a pipe, sacred pipe, tears streaming down his cheeks, crying out, asking for strength, asking for wisdom, asking for guidance, but not for himself, but so that his people could live again. Eagle flew as fast as he could. That sun was continuing to set. Eagle swooped down, gathered up that prayer smoke. As the sun set, he returned to the spirit world. He had found his one person. This is the story of how the eagle and one small boy saved mankind. I've told that story in this circle before. I've told it all over Turtle Island. I've told it a lot. They've had me tell it a lot in these days and times, because everything, unfortunately, that's alive and well in that story in those 4 days is alive and well right now in the hearts of human beings. All the terrible things going on right now, or what Eagle saw in those 4 days. It was many, many years later when Eagle told this history, this story, to the first human being. That young boy and his children were long since gone from the earth when Eagle told this story once again to the first human being. Little did they know the far-reaching impact of that one young boy's heartfelt prayers. I tell this story now and again, over and over, as I have, whenever they've given it to me for me to tell it, because each of us can be like that young boy. It all depends on what we choose to do every morning when that sun rises. Thank you. Stick in the middle.
Yeah, thanks, Jared. The youth council is very happy to hear that story again. They were on when you told it before. Oh, boy. Yeah, interesting. So, to answer also some of your questions, Valerie, they reached out to some of the people still in camp up there. And there's a meeting of people in the council, a council meeting of those in the camp going on now. And one thing they really like is all 4 colors are in that meeting. Got all the cultures. And it's mixed. Some are saying, let's close down tomorrow, and some are saying, no, that's not why we're here. Prayers have been going on every day, and those two are coming from the 4 directions, the 4 colors. So people are stepping up and giving prayers of their cultures. The fire is still going. It's been going since it officially started. So it looks like camp has been officially operating about a month now. A couple weeks before that, people were just coming and going, but not staying there. See if there's any other pieces you asked. Yeah, it looks like the thing that impressed them the most were that the people were coming together. And they've heard some of us who were at Standing Rock talk, and now they've felt it themselves. That was the biggest impression to them. And some of these young people probably have not been off the res much, if at all. So this is a first exposure. And for the most part, it was positive for them. When I was chatting with some of them the other day, there was a few negative elements. You had a few people there not with good intentions, or one they said who was probably not totally in his senses. He was spouting a lot of stuff, but they felt that it was because he had problems. But for the most part, it was a totally positive experience. Anything else you want to know, or just to ask them? Okay, that's cool. We can do that. You know, as we were talking too, it's funny, somebody sent me the picture behind me here. That's Grandfather Martin, right here. My uncle died about, 4 or 5 years ago now, I guess. But this was when he was coming to my place when I lived here previously. And we were starting prayers then, and we were talking some of this then. So it's nice to see. You know, why would they send that right now? I don't know. I haven't read it yet. Apparently, I don't know if you're still out there, but there were some people who were, I just typed something on the group too, wondering if they can come in late. We have to remember to put that up. Yes, come in when you can come in. So if there's people still out there, if they saw that, they'll know they're welcomed in. They didn't see the posting until after we were on. Whew. The other one who was coming up today was, and it's funny because the youth council asked me about him before, was John Lewis. John Lewis was a congressman. I think he passed away, maybe 2 years ago now. And John Lewis was famous for the line, "Make good trouble," which cemented, he marched with Dr. King. I actually saw him. I was there as I think like 15-year-old. I didn't know him at all, but I saw him during that march. He was one who was clubbed over the head and bleeding profusely. But to keep it peaceful, that was the first time I think he said, you know, let's make good trouble. And it carried on through his whole life. And other people have said that. And I think that's a way we all can face this. Making trouble's fine. Stand up. speak your voice, but like we were saying earlier, don't turn into those who hate, because then we become that. And that's not a good walk. It's not where we want to be. Anything else we want to know from them, we just ask. Jerry.
I just wanted to thank the youth council because I was here, Jim and I were here when you first formed, when you first showed up before there was a council, asking what could be done, talking about what you saw and what you didn't like, and so many of you saying that I can't speak, no one will listen. I can't do this, no one will follow me. I remember your voices. I remember your doubts. I remember your fears. I remember your strength as you stepped forward. I remember as the council formed. I remembered you coming together and the grandmother saying, we'll help guide you. And now look at what you're doing. Now look what you've done and what you're continuing to do. That alone, if nothing else comes of this, that alone is amazing and beautiful. And I want to thank you. I want to thank each one of your children out there that helped make this happen. Form that council. Spread the word. Everything that you've done and continue to do has an effect. I was always taught by my elders especially, don't pay attention to results. It's the effort that's powerful. What you put out into the world by you coming and forming that council and doing what you're doing, that energy does not end with you. It goes out. It lights a fire. Those embers turn into a fire again. And that fire grows. That light gets brighter. And you, kids, help make that happen. You increase the light by being you. And I want to thank you.
That's a really important piece, and we've thanked them before on here. And yeah, you guys made that happen. It wasn't our suggestion, it came from you. They're writing something now about the fires. We'll see what comes. Now, Jerry, they're actually talking to some young people, I think in Standing Rock. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys. To let them know what they've been doing. I mean, if it could spread other places, that's just awesome. Because it is coming from you guys. We're here to support whatever you need. A story from Jerry, a remembrance from me, or whatever, or anyone else here in the circle. But this is coming from you. This is coming from your hearts, your souls, and the mother. So keep it up. Oh, I didn't know this. Huh. The fire. So there's been a fire there, Valerie, like we said, since it became an official camp, which is roughly 1 month ago now. However, when the youth council were there, they had their own fire, which they kept going the whole time they were there. And when they left, we took I don't know that word, guys. They took the ashes and put them in to the main fire. But that fire they had, that was the that was the youth council fire of a gathering of eagles. And the heart for that came from Jerry. We did an event. What did we do? And he stood, they remember he stood in the rain and kept the fire going. So cool. Neat. I'd forgotten about that.
I remember that fire. That was for the solstice.
That's what it was.
Yep.
Yep. So they remembered it and recreated it there. Again, perfect. This is what we do. We, use the things that our circles know and have shared that are useful and positive. And create other things as you go. So thank you guys. And keep us informed what happens. And if you need anything to create other circles, please ask. I know I'll help. I suspect Jerry would help probably others if you need it. Be happy to. Valerie.
I was sharing with Jim some weeks back that every time in the morning I would go in my prayers for all of you, I would see this fire, and in my mind's eye, I would see visions of this fire. And I've been worried about the camp. So over the weekend, I spent some time in prayer, and I saw the fire again. And so I'm like, okay, it's still up and running because I wasn't sure if it was still there. I have to say, I think that your leadership is being sorely missed over there. I think if you were still there, and I know that you can't because you had to get back to school and everything, but I think it's telling that now that you're gone, that there's issues because I think your leadership was very essential there. I know you couldn't continue, but I just have to just point that out. And then I think there's a certain see if see if everybody feels the same. I believe that we're shifting to the east as we begin this experience of what's happening in the world. We're looking toward a new beginning. It's already started. We talked in earlier programs about the phoenix versus the thunderbird, and I feel it. I think you feel it too, and it's symbolic in the fact that you had a youth fire as well as the other fire. It's like the two worlds, and the new world beginning. Even though there's horrific things happening, you know, and it hurts. It hurts all of our hearts. Um, there is also equally wonderful things happening too, because that's just a part of the nature of balance. Um, and conflict is inevitable. I know there's disagreements in the camp right now, but that's all part of like the image of you got to have some thunderstorms to clear the air. You got to have a balance, and that's part of finding that balance. And I believe in my heart that the group will work it out. Um, and that's where prayer comes in. I hope, and I'm certain they're turning toward Creator and Mother Earth there. Um, her heart is with all of you. And too bad Chris wasn't here because he had something beautiful to say from Mother Earth earlier today. I Let me see if can you recall what that was, Jim? It was so beautiful.
Oh boy. I can remember it happening. I can't remember what it was. Well, he'll kiwi it in another time. Yeah, I'll turn it over to Jared in a second, but I'm just Valerie, to you. They're saying, respectfully, Grandmother Valerie, yes, we had to come home, but we're still there. Take it, Jared.
That's right. You are still there. I changed my background. That fire that you started at that camp, I ask you if you think you can start that fire where you're at right now and send out to all the youth that will hear you to have a fire also where they're at for what this is all about. To spread the embers of that fire. Let that fire light everywhere it possibly can. Let that fire that you started unite all the people in this way for this beautiful cause. Let that fire spread. Let that light shine. Let your light shine. Let those fires, let there be hundreds of those fires, all started by the youth. Do you think that's possible? Let me know.
That's interesting because I had typed something similar, of course. They haven't gotten back yet, but I could put it out to the youth groups I work with, and so could they. And we could, I don't know, be a coordinating place. But that would be awesome. We've done the drum circles, they're powerful. We've done lots of things, but there's a big prayer thing coming up in about a week and a half. But yeah, we haven't done a global fire that I'm aware of. I mean, the 8th fire's going on, but that's different. That's with a different purpose. Yeah, let's stay on that, Jerry. See what they ask. Whoops. Okay. Well, they're starting to type. We'll see what comes. Whew. Okay, where else? Well, Jerry brought the storytelling back in. I mentioned it earlier, too. That was a really good discussion today. I got thrown off at one point. I lost all my internet once again. I'm still coming and going here, but I guess that's what it has to be. But yeah, the difference in the storytellings that I'm sitting in now is really neat. I don't think I said it before, but I mentioned it in the earlier call. The circle I was in, talking with other elders from different tribes, and they told me that they were happy I was there because of my Romani Gypsy, indigenous blood, which I have. I know it's there. I use it. I talk to my grandmother all the time, but I usually tap into my native blood. They're all native bloods. But that is we need to bring in those different voices. Romani Gypsies in Europe, most people don't even realize, were almost eradicated in World War II. As Hitler was killing off the Jews, he was going after the Gypsies and all through Europe. And I think it's, forgive me if the number's wrong, but it's close, almost 3/4 of the Gypsy people were killed during that time. It's why my people ended up over here, because my grandmother was a medicine woman there. But she knew the family had to leave. So it's just, yeah, don't downplay any of your roots. There's a few of us, Jerry's one, who happen to be pure bloods. That's awesome. They can carry that blood in that line. But most people now are mixed bloods. And I think we need to honor them all, because we're going to need them all. This is not about one, for sure. Valerie.
I have to share that I recently found out that I am Cherokee, and not just a little bit. Our grandmother and family were forced on the Trail of Tears, and I've been reconnecting. That was part of when I said I'm pursuing the Red Road. Well, that's part of my journey. But I wanted to share a little something that I've learned is that the Cherokee, when they were forced on the Trail of Tears, gathered up some of the coals from the fire. It's an eternal flame that they have over there in North Carolina. I believe it's North Carolina. And they brought the embers of that fire with them to Oklahoma and then relit that fire. I believe that we're living in that time again. And this discussion we're having about the fire is very significant because it's more than a symbol. It is a deeper meaning of carrying the past and our heritage and reconnecting with the future, carrying it over to the future, and not abandoning it, carry it with you. So very important, very significant what's happening here in our discussions, and very significant the meaning of the fire from the Youth Council.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And I'm hearing from the youth council and the grandmothers are typing away. But I'll tag into what you're saying, Valerie. For my family, we were sanitized. I had no idea. My whole family just kept saying, no, no, we're just Italian, pure Italian blood. I may have never known except for my grandmother. She's the only one who told me what we were, and the rest of the family condemned her for it. So mostly she just told me and one of my cousins. So that happened a lot. That's right. And if I hadn't gone just truthfully for fun with my ex to get DNA tests, we did it for each other for the heck of it because we were curious to find out that my grandmother was spot on. And so there's a lot of that, but it doesn't even really matter that much what we are on the outside. My teachers told me that years ago when I would say, oh, two bears, I don't deserve this, I'm not worthy, I can't do it, you've got other native young people who could do it, blah, 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 blah. And he used to say, it doesn't really matter. What's in your heart? What's in your heart? And I think he must have known I was part native before somehow. He knew a lot of things like that. He was gone before I found out for sure. But that's really, it's really important. Okay, so they really like the fire idea. They're going to talk about it and talk to others about it, and would we help? And I would say, yeah, I certainly will. I'm sure others around here, Jerry's doing thumbs up, guys, would help if you like. But we can help and support. I really feel, and I'm welcome to hear what others, that it needs to come, you guys need to be the activators of this. This is a youth fire. Yeah, we could set up a fire of whatever types, but yeah, and I'm seeing nodding heads. So if you guys want to start setting it up, we can help do that. We can certainly get it online. I'll put it out there. We can house it in one of the big groups that I'm part of, or start something, whatever you think. Maybe you don't want that. Maybe you just want word out when the fires have burned. Grandmother Val is saying they would honor that. They would honor whatever the youth decide to do. She didn't hear their comment before writing this, by starting a grandmother's fire up where they are in support of the youth fire. So there's your answer, guys. Just let me know. Yeah. You're muted.
Jerry, are you talking to us? Because we can't hear you.
Oh, okay. I thought that's
I thought he
funny.
was signaling to us too.
Yeah.
I pulled a card. I know that
Good. Go.
so
Perfect.
as we were speaking, I was shuffling, but I did have one thought for the youth council, and I've studied so many different paths, and the ash in the Hindu tradition and the sacred fire, and the Kali Mat temple in India, that the fire has been running for thousands and thousands of years, and one thing that has been passed is ash. So I wonder if that's something that if the youth wanted to share ash to other youth and to spread that. That's just like that's one of the visions that I had, which I thought would be really beautiful, and it's fun because when I began my career as a social worker, I worked at a residential treatment center for 73 New York foster children. And the cottage that I was in charge of was called Ash Cottage. And I've always been connected to the ash because it is It's so significant on so many different levels, but let's get in. I pulled the buffalo, number 19. Buffalo, you bring us the gifts of life. Hear our prayers. Smoke rising like phoenix. We are reborn within the sacred words. So number 19 is prayer and abundance. Bear with me. Taking off the blue light, putting on the readers. In the Lakota tradition, it was the white buffalo calf woman who brought the sacred pipe to the people and taught them to pray. The bowl of the pipe was the receptacle that held tobacco, an herb with male and female medicine. The stem of the pipe represented the male entering the female and seeding. Oh, there's the seed again. Seeding life. In the coming together of male and female, the connection to the divine energy of the Great Spirit was made. As the pipe was loaded with tobacco, every family in nature was asked to enter into the pipe and share its medicine as prayer and praise to the heavens. The smoke was considered to be a visual prayer and was very sacred and cleansing. All animals are sacred, but in many traditions, white buffalo is the most sacred. The appearance of white buffalo is a sign that prayers are being heard, that the sacred pipe is being honored, and that the promises of prophecy are being fulfilled. White buffalo signals a time of abundance and plenty. Buffalo was the major source of sustenance for the Plains Indians. It gave meat for food, hides for clothing, warm and soft buffalo robes for long winters, and hooves for glue. The medicine of buffalo is prayer, gratitude, and praise for that which has been received. Buffalo medicine is also knowing that abundance is present when all relations are honored as sacred. Because of its desire to give the gifts that its body provided, and because of its willingness to be used on earth for the highest good before entering the hunting grounds of spirit, buffalo did not readily stampede and run from hunters. To use buffalo medicine is to smoke the pipe in a sacred manner, and to give praise for the richness of life to be shared with all races, creatures, nations, and life. It means smoking for others so that their needs are met, praying for the good of all things in harmony, and accepting the great mystery as a part of that harmony. If you've drawn the buffalo card, you may have been asked to use your energy in prayer. You may also be called upon to be an instrument of someone else's answer to a prayer. This could portend a time of recognizing the sacredness of every walk of life, albeit different from your own. To honor another's pathway, even if it brings you sadness, is part of the message that buffalo brings. This may be a time of reconnection to the meaning of life and the value of peace. Most assuredly, this time will bring serenity amidst chaos if you pray in earnest for enlightenment and the power of calmness, and give praise for the gifts you already have. Buffalo medicine is a sign that you achieve nothing without the aid of Great Spirit, and that you must be humble enough to ask for that assistance and then be grateful for what you receive. Thank you, Jamie, for some beautiful wisdom. Number 19, no buffalo.
Yep, the Jamie cards are always, I find, spot on. They bring what we need. Wow. Oh. So they are going to be talking about the fire, and they'll get back to us. When the 8th fire was lit down in South America, I do have some of the ash. It was brought back up by a friend, and he sent me some of the ash. So it's here, out there in my lodge too, and a lot of other people's. And that bit too, when Phoenix comes and is burning everything down, of course Phoenix is to burn everything to ash. But then ash is also what we spread on the garden afterwards to start the new things growing. So that it's definitely a transition element.
You can't make whole corn soup without ash.
Hey. Mm. Yeah, and several other foods that you bury in the ash as you cook them too. But you're right. Just don't eat the ash. That's
Can't make soap without ash either.
is that right? I
But
never
yeah, I
knew.
guess you can, but the good kind.
Oh,
At least
okay.
that's what my grandmother taught me.
Huh. Soap without chemicals. Oh, Jerry, your hand's up. I didn't see that.
So, uh, reaching out to the grandmothers, the grandmother council. Um, Monday, I believe. Or no, actually, it's going to be Tuesday or Wednesday. I'm coming back to Wisconsin. So let me know through Jim or whatever. And when this fire happens and you have a fire in support of the youth council, I can be there. I'll be there for that fire too. Stick in the middle.
They're on and they got it, so I'm sure they'll respond. But that's cool. I don't think you were on earlier, Jerry, when some of the grandmothers may come here in May when those events are going on. And I offered here if they wish it. So the 13 indigenous grandmothers are coming back, and a couple of them, two or three of them may be here. So there's another opportunity. And they're thanking you, and they definitely will. We'll see what happens. Let's let the young ones, let's let the youth lead this and all be in support. Yep, I totally agree. Valerie.
I still got some connections around here. So once we get the youth lead us and let us know, I can maybe put the word out to the youth in this area. I'm just a little south of Green Bay, Wisconsin as well. So maybe we can pull something together. Very exciting, you guys. I'm definitely going to be praying over this and supporting in any way I can. Thank you so much, all of you. It's just so exciting.
I'll be in your area in no time, Valerie.
And I have to share that I'm absolutely nowhere near Wisconsin, so. But I'll come in spirit. Maybe Robbie will fly over. Who knows?
Robbie's balancing us out since we're missing our Kiwi tonight.
Yeah, it's true. Good point. I like Robbie's accent better, but don't tell Chris. Ah, M. Hello, M.
That's Marcy.
Marcy,
Who's?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I thought
Yeah.
somebody. I didn't want to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I actually am really tired and I didn't want to just go away since there's only 5 or 6 of us, not 35 of us. And you'd notice I was gone without saying anything. So I wanted to at least step in and say thank you and good night. I'll talk to you next time. And thanks for having me.
Thanks. Thanks for being here. Yeah, we're gonna get off in a few minutes anyway. Appreciate it.
Okay, well I'm out of here. Thank you. Bye.
Bye bye. Wow. It looks like a few people from Tom's group, if to keep. Oh, okay. So if they keep the Coldwater camp going, a few of them may be going back. So they're waiting to see what happens. So am I. We'll see. You know, whatever happens, just like Standing Rock, even if they close it down, they won't be closing it down. That spirit's going to spread. There's already talks going on. I hear in other places that they're going to have similar camps. One is going to be Denver. The governor of Colorado, and the mayor of Denver have both told ICE that they need to stay away, and if they don't obey the law, they are going to be arrested and prosecuted. So, again, it's got to stay peaceful, but we'll put that out there. But yeah, there's a lot of pushback now coming from so many places. Earlier today, too, someone had sent to me just to bring in news because things are shifting. I guess Trump, the other day, a lot of people were upset because he said if Iran didn't completely surrender, he was going to eradicate their country and everything in it. Pure hate, pure insanity. Well, who pushed back on him? The stock exchange, which was ready to go down the toilet. So today, apparently, he's saying, well, you'll all be happy to know we've had a complete success now. So, like most bullies are cowards almost every single time. And so you never know quite where the pushback's going to come. We don't know where all our allies are, but let's welcome each one who's here for good reasons. We don't have to completely agree with them, that's for sure. They can have their own faith or whatever. But let's embrace those who are going to help get through this right now. I never in my wildest dreams would ever consider the stock market to be an ally. Money things just, yeah. But there you have it. Thank you, stock market. Anything else we want to bring in here? Or should we log out with a nice prayer? Melissa, you look like you have some look in your eyes there.
I think we can close it out with a prayer. I was,
Everybody good?
wanted to acknowledge, there's a big shift today. Felt like a big release, and it's coinciding with the stationing direct. That's this planet of expansion, and since November 11th, it's been retrograde, and I know a lot of us. I know for me, it's been since around that time. It's been a very difficult, bumpy ride.
Yep.
And it really did feel between yesterday and today. A big shift. And so I just wanted to acknowledge that. And a lot of times tonight we kept talking about the fire and the ash and the light. And when I came up with this tomato, it was in reference to being angry at somebody defending themselves publicly, somebody that's been named as somebody that has no integrity but has been a spiritual leader, and the person did not have comments on it. So I felt it as if it was just so unfair, and what my thought was, I wish we just had a tomato emoji so we could throw tomatoes. And that was my thought, and that's what opened up. And I'll share more because I have a lot of ideas on how we can support our community here in our circles globally with this tomato concept. So I'm excited for that. So it's brewing. So I'm a little quiet this evening because a lot of brewing, but I just wanted to acknowledge that's okay. And there's been a lot of feeling of unease and a lot of nervous system activation. And I just want everybody to remember their superpower of breathing. I think that's the most important thing, that we've done this before, we'll do it again, and the light has already won. Those are some of my prayers and thoughts. So
Yeah.
thank you all, and thank you so much for your beautiful stories tonight, Uncle Jerry.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to have you here.
So much.
Always, of course.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
you and
Go
the
ahead.
elders and the grandmothers for being with us every week.
Just
It's a
swimming
blessing and an
together.
honor. So
Yeah.
thank you.
It is. And they thought this was a really powerful show, and they will go out. Okay, Jerry, they're going to have fun with you here at the end, though. Please, with a smiley face, please remind Jerry that we're youth, not children. He got the message,
I
guys.
knew that was coming. I was gonna say, oh, as soon as
I'm,
you said kids, I felt you, youth. I felt you. I was rooting for
well,
you. So happy.
Melissa and I are with you guys. I thought it snuck through. It didn't. And they're laughing. And they will be with you in spirit as you travel up to the North Country as well. Cool. All right, time to, who wants to close this out? I brought us in. Jerry? Yeah.
Tewa, stuknungwa, musa, yaji, nu sa ingwa, tuskwa mingwa, hoponani, tetrika, tevuna, quiniwina. Ho so'o, ho kwa'a, ho tumsi, anahi, tavosiam, creator, earthmaker, spirits of the four directions, spirits of the four elements of life, spirits of our ancestors, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, male relatives, female relatives, all that have went before us. Tvosium, the animal nations, plant nations, the rock beings, the water spirits, all are relations. I am so Ingwa. I humbly send forth a voice of gratitude for you gathering with us, sitting here in this circle with us, for keeping that fire, our fire, and our spirit alive. With your strength, with your wisdom, with your patience, with your understanding and your clarity and your guidance. For all that you continue to give us every minute of every day, every sacred breath that we breathe. I say, Enchai, Kukwai, Squally, Wawenin, Wado, Opila, and Ingwatewa, Durkachia, all my relations. Thank you. Thank you all who are here. Thank you all who will hear this and will watch this afterwards. Much love.
Oh, thank you. And travel safely, brother. Good evening to all. I will get this up as soon as possible. And again, go ahead and put it out there since Facebook is harassing me. Love you all.
Love you. Thank you.